I can't believe someone Alright guys, I can't believe someone actually tried to do this. Y'all think you're funny, huh? You guys have impersonated me before. You guys even tried to impersonate my brother. And you guys also tried to impersonate being my sister. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was the last time. But I was wrong. Because recently I got a girlfriend and I made a couple videos with her. And today, I literally found someone trying to impersonate my girlfriend. So I was playing Bed Wars just like any normal day. And as I was going up to go search for a game, this person came up to me dressed as my girlfriend, said, "Hey, Folt," with heart emojis. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, at first I really thought this was my girlfriend. So I said, "What the, Jilda? Is that you?" And she said, "Yes, it's me." And then she also said, "Let's play. I've gotten a lot better." And I was gonna start playing with her until I remembered me and Jilda just got off a phone call. So I said, "Wait a minute, we just got off the phone. You said you were going to the store." And then she said, "I just got home," with heart emojis. And at this point, I wasn't believing it because one, Jilda does not spam heart emojis like that. And two, she said she was going to the store. So I said, we got off the phone 30 seconds ago. You went to the store in 30 seconds? And that's when they said, I was about to leave. And I wanted to play before I had to go. And now I was like 60% sure this wasn't my girlfriend. But I wanted to make sure. So I said, "Are you sure this is my girlfriend?" And then she said, "Wow. Can't even tell if it's your own girlfriend. It's like you don't even know me anymore." And I'm not gonna lie, I felt kind of bad. Because if this is my girlfriend and I didn't even know, that'd make me a bad boyfriend. So I went to the leaderboard and I went down to their name and they only had one win, which is the same amount of wins my real girlfriend had. So now I was thinking, wait, maybe this is my girlfriend. So I said, "Okay, I'm sorry. It's just that you never play Roblox unless you're at your house." And guys, what she said next made me realize this is not my girlfriend. She said, "I got a new PC and I wanted to test it out." My girlfriend doesn't know how to play PC and my girlfriend doesn't even like PCs. So I said, "Bruh, what the?" And before I said anything else, I knew I had to get this fake impersonator in my private server and see why they were doing this. So I said, "Join invite." I invited the fake girlfriend and she actually joined me. And this is what happened. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm like 99% sure this is not my girlfriend at all. Because like, one, my girlfriend is not.
We are evacuating today. The hurricane intensified to a category 5 and I feel better than ever about leaving. Yesterday I did consider if I'm overreacting a bit, but everything seemed to just be getting worse by the hour. We've been having a bit of a hard time registering our car here, so we needed to stop by the DMV to get a new temporary plate so I can safely drive out without any worries. As soon as we left, we got zone A and B evacuations, and then later that day even zone C to be prepared, so that's when I was convinced we gotta get out of here. I wasn't planning on waiting to find out with kids. If someone wanted to stay, more power to you. You are braver than me. I value my life. We stopped by home to pick up the dog, and then my husband took me to pump up one of my tires because it was a bit flat, and off we went. It was pretty gloomy and it was supposed to take me 18 hours to get to my parents' house, but that's also not counting stops to charge the car. The first charge was completely unnecessary, but one of the twins needed to use the bathroom, so it was a mandatory one. We went to Popeyes across the street and got a quick bite while we were there. As soon as we got on the highway, the traffic was already insane, and this is considering I was leaving Monday morning, over 48 hours before the actual storm was even coming. I got multiple. After waking up to a lake in our front yard from the tropical storm, the guys went and grabbed a generator from the store because we were not ready for it to be this bad as first timers. The electricity turned off overnight and we had limited water supply left, and to think we were told we'd only get 2 inches of rain was a total joke now. Honestly, it was total chaos. The kids were going crazy. The floor was all wet because the guys were in and out of the house soaking wet trying to get the generator up and running so we can at least plug in the freezer and refrigerator. While they did that, we unloaded the truck with the groceries they got and started on getting some breakfast for the kids going. They also worked on getting some sand in front of the garage because water was seeping in through there, and anytime a car drove by, the water basically almost entered the actual house. Some of our bushes literally uprooted themselves, but we finally got the main appliances connected to some power. It continued to rain and the water was rising even higher, so we moved the small truck a little higher again. The rain was not stopping and it was already midday. The guys left to get some more sand, and we were starting to get worried and thinking if we should leave now before it gets worse and we can't even get out on the only truck we got. We watched all the locals out the window on their kayaks and paddle boards, and the guys decided to. After waking, it took us 12 hours just to get out of Florida, and all the hotels were booked up, so we spent the night in the trunk of our car at a hotel parking lot where dozens of others were doing the same. I got up at dawn to continue driving. It's been a rough night. We didn't have any blankets and it was so cold I pulled out some of the clothes from our suitcase to cover up with. The battery went down by 70 miles, so I stopped to charge while we brush our teeth and get some coffee. This is also when I noticed my car got egged, so I washed it up as much as I can, and then we drove another 3 hours before stopping to charge again. I fed the twins here and then also the dog. He hasn't been eating anything at all since we left, so I I mixed his food with the twins' leftovers and he finally ate it, so I felt much better about him. And then we continued on before stopping to charge again. This time we went to Chick-fil-A across the street because I haven't eaten anything this morning and it was already 2 p.m. While we were sleeping, a friend was evacuating too, so she was dropped off to help me since I wasn't sure how I'd feel in the morning after last night's situation. She drove this last 3-hour stretch, and then after we charged up again, I drove the next stretch. It has gotten dark already when we stopped to charge again. Grace was asleep, so Kane and I took the dog out and went to grab some snacks. My friend drove this time again, and the roads were scary. It was so dark you couldn't. I got to my parents' house last night after midnight, which marked 36 hours since we evacuated from our home in Florida. I sure was not expecting traffic to be so bad over 48 hours before the hurricane was even coming, but just glad we made it safely at this point. My mom let me sleep in till 11 a.m. and was already working and making lunch as I was only starting my morning with coffee. My dad was smoking some lamb before heading to work. The hurricane was still hours away from hitting land, so we all went to the house my dad's building to check out the progress. We weren't there long and went home to watch the storm live on TV. I was keeping an eye on it all day while my husband sent me videos of some of the prep work they did the day before boarding up houses. My sister leaves to school in the morning and I literally almost completely forgot about her until she came back home, and I realized I won't be sitting alone all day while parents are at work. Towards evening, we got dressed and went to visit my dad's donkeys and drive around on the tractor. This is what the kids have been promised all day, so they were so excited. They didn't even want to take turns, so they both got in, and of course can't forget dad's dog. Grandpa has been talking about giving them a ride in this thing for months, and it's finally happening. My sister and I drove behind them on the truck until they were exhausted and Although controversial, we decided to make the best of our first tropical storm experience. We had about 4 feet of water in our front yard, so we took advantage of making this a bonding experience instead of moping around inside all day without air conditioning. We connected the coffee maker to the generator earlier to make coffee, so we're using it for hot water as well to make some instant noodles for lunch. I'm trying to make chicken Alfredo in the Instant Pot since it's the only thing we can plug into the generator outlet without using like a gas stove or anything. Our roommates went out to check the damage around the block while I stayed with the kids, and let's just say we got very lucky compared to how flooded other homes were. It was getting pretty hot inside the house, so the kids and I went outside to the pool to cool off for a bit. This is probably the coldest I've ever felt this pool be, so our dip didn't last very long. It was refreshing though. We had some dinner and then my husband connected the water pump, so we got some water in the house, which was much needed because we were on our last plate. I did all the dishes, cleaned off the stove and tabletop so we can start fresh tomorrow. We have one cord that we can plug in whatever we need, like chargers, Instant Pot, coffee maker. So I plugged in the vacuum and vacuumed the entire house because these floors are disgusting. As soon as we got on the highway, the traffic was already insane, and this is considering I was leaving Monday morning, over 48 hours before the actual storm was even coming. I got multiple Amber alerts about the dangers of the hurricane, all while going 5 miles an hour and thinking if I'll even be able to get out in time. My mind was going to all the worst case scenarios, and I was not doing okay. It took me 8.5 hours to get to the first charging station I was supposed to stop at, which was only 3 hours away with no traffic. I took care of the dog first while the twins were sleeping, but Kane woke up and puked while I was doing that, and I had not a single towel to clean up, so I used the only hoodie I brought with me to clean him and the car seat up. I pulled the suitcase to get some extra clothes for him, and then we headed to Taco Bell in the parking lot to get some food and use the restroom. While I was gone, some boys egged my car, but I didn't know that yet. About an hour after I got back on the road, my eyes started blurring and I didn't feel safe to continue driving, so I pulled over to let them rest for 10 minutes. It took me 12 hours just to see the "Thank you for visiting Florida" sign. I ended up driving another 30 minutes after that and just stopped at a hotel parking lot since everything was booked up, and my husband called every place he could find around me. We slept in the car trunk and woke up at dawn to continue driving. After evacuating from Florida to my parents' house in Missouri, 2 weeks later, we were finally going home after we got power back. We drove out at 9 on Saturday night with the goal of making it back home by Monday morning so my husband can get back to work. And we got to Mississippi by 3 a.m. to a charging station where we decided to find a hotel to sleep for the night. From one hotel to another, to another, to another, they were all fully booked out besides one that we found. So after 30 minutes of searching, we got a room and headed there with the kids. We got a room, but the key wasn't working, so we waited while my husband went to get that activated again. And the feeling of relief, knowing we get to sleep comfortably for a few hours until morning. Kane slept through the whole transfer, but Gracie took a little while to fall back asleep. In total, we ended up getting about 4 to 4.5 hours of sleep before getting up to get back on the road. Kane woke up bright and early before my alarm even rang and went trying to open the door looking for Grandma. I don't think it's settled in yet that we left for them. We had some breakfast at the hotel, which saved us so much time going somewhere to look for food. Plus, they had all the twins' favorites: scrambled eggs, yogurt, and waffles. We let the doggo go potty and we're back on the road. There was a charger right in the hotel parking lot, so we were already charged up to go. It has gotten dark already when we stopped to charge again. Grace was asleep, so Kane and I took the dog out and went to grab some snacks. My friend drove this time again, and the roads were scary. It was so dark you couldn't really even see where you're going. I dropped her off with her sister though, and then I had another 2 hours to go solo. And 36 hours later, we finally made it to our destination. I cannot believe this is happening again. We're packing to evacuate due to the hurricane on its way straight towards us. I can't even believe how chaotic this year has been. Seriously, some kind of change always happens about every 2 weeks, and although never boring, I am tired and just want to finally settle down. Anyway, at this point, the hurricane's predicted to be category 3, but might get even bigger, so we're not taking any chances having 2 toddlers and living in an older home. We're already getting lots of rain leading up to it, so flooding is a real concern, plus these strong winds. I don't even know how long we'll be out of power, and I'm not trying to find out. Kids change a whole lot of things in these situations, so I'd rather stay on the safe side and just get out of here. My closest family from here is in Missouri, so that's a few states away, and I'm driving there solo with the twins. We figured that would be the smartest thing to do, and also a way to get one of our cars out from flooding. My husband decided to stay behind and do damage control so we don't lose all our food in the freezers. I don't think he'll be staying at the house during the actual storm, and we'll go to a friend's house who has a newer home that's more up to code than our old one, but once the storm passes, he can be around to hook up a generator and save what he can. Now that I'm packed and ready, we got dressed and went to visit my dad's donkeys and drive around on the tractor. This is what the kids have been promised all day, so they were so excited. They didn't even want to take turns, so they both got in. And of course, can't forget dad's dog. Grandpa has been talking about giving them a ride in this thing for months, and it's finally happening. My sister and I drove behind them on the truck until they were exhausted and wanted to go home. They fell asleep on the way home, so we got them inside, and then we had some late night dinner while watching the storm live. I went to check out the progress on the house again since they got the flooring installed today. My dad was still working away with the tile. Kane fell off the bed, so I put him back on, and then we had some tea with mom while staying up to date on the hurricane damages with their 2 cats that I might be allergic to. Not sure, but I have been sneezing a lot since I got here. Already flickered twice while I was finishing cooking, and our outdoor chair ended up in the pool already. The wind was definitely picking up quickly and branches were flying off trees. I finished everything I needed to though, so now we just had to wait it out and see what happens. I just had to keep the twins busy with indoor activities until bedtime at least. And then towards evening, the rain started with huge gusts of wind to where I could literally see the glass on the door windows shaking. The wind was blowing onto the front of the house, so the rest of the outdoor furniture against the house was protected by the house and didn't go anywhere. It was at this moment that I got an Amber Alert to bunker down for a tornado, but luckily 20 minutes later it was canceled. We don't even have a bunker or bottom floor, y'all. I've been keeping the twins out of their bedroom because we have a tall tree on that side, and I was kind of worried that it might fall over. Towards the end of the evening, the rain stopped. Based on the map, the storm was already passing us and heading towards land. A tree did fall in our neighborhood and a neighbor's fence ripped off. I heard some people did lose power nearby, but we were safe and I am so grateful. We watched all the locals out the window on their kayaks and paddle boards, and the guys decided to inflate our paddle board and join them. This probably isn't everyone's initial thought, but if life gives you lemons, you might as well make lemonade, right? I took the twins out for a ride, and then it was starting to rain again, so it didn't last very long. We got back inside and finally connected the coffee maker to the generator to make some coffee and wait out the rain again. There's really not much to do inside when you don't have AC and internet, so our neighbor gave us his kayak and we attempted to all go riding in it. We watched all the